Hello, my friends. Today we're going to be having some fun with the fibers called Angelina. So I want to talk a little bit today about what is Angelina. You can add shine and shimmer to all of your projects, whether it's fabric, paper, or otherwise. It's a synthetic luminescent polyester fiber, and comes in a couple different ways. You can have it either as just staple, which is what they would usually spin into yarns and things like that, or heat bondable. And the heat bondable is the stuff that I love to play with because it allows you to basically create your own shiny sheer fabric. And you can mix and match. It comes in a lot of different colors. You can mix and match the colors, or you can just sort of stay into one tone as it goes. It's a really fun fiber to play with. Great way to embellish, add a little bit of shine, a little bit of bling into your projects. I just want to walk you through how simple it is to use the fibers here. And what I've got here is a few different colors. And I'm working on an applique pressing sheet, which is one thing that you can use to play with your Angelina fibers. Or if you don't have a pressing sheet, you can get some parchment paper. Now, parchment paper is found in the baking aisle of your grocery store. It's not wax paper. It's not freezer paper. It's parchment paper or baking paper. It's kind of in the same technique when you're cooking and you don't want things to stick to your pans. It's the same idea that we don't want it to stick to our iron, because the one thing about Angelina is it doesn't want to have an iron directly hit it because it is synthetic. It will just melt and make a big mess. So you want to have something that you can protect the fibers as you're building with them. So just to show you what I'm talking about, let's just work with a little bit of the pink here. You're going to create an area that you can protect the fibers completely. So I've got a nice big piece of parchment paper here, and I'm going to just take a little bit. Doesn't take a lot. And I'm going to spread those fibers out and lay them down on my sheet. And you want to be working with not necessarily a really hot iron, more of like a silk setting or kind of a lower setting of heat. Because if you apply too much heat to the Angelina, you can change the color of the Angelina and kind of make it all sort of brown. That might be what you're going for, but make sure that it's a choice as opposed to an accident. Once you've kind of laid out your fibers, the next thing you're going to do is sandwich them so that you have either your pressing sheet or this parchment paper, and just lay that nice and flat. Once your iron is heated up, then you'll just go ahead and press the heat down on top of your parchment paper. Just moving it around to make sure you're getting a nice even heat and you're not just staying one spot the entire time. So let that cool for just a second. And then when we open it up, what we have is the Angelina has bonded to itself. So now I have this lovely sheer, very translucent, but very shiny piece of fabric that I can use. And you can use it as an overlay on top of other fabrics so that you basically have your fabric with just that hint of pink and a shine on top. If you're looking for something a little bit more dramatic, you can place something light on top of a darker fabric so that you can actually see those colors come out. If I wanted to have something a little bit more dense in color, not so translucent, I could continue to add the same color of Angelina. Or if I wanted to add in a little bit of shading, I can come over here with a slightly darker color, and maybe I'll add in two different colors this time. A little of the salmon. And just continue to build up those layers of shine. Again, I'm going to sandwich that in between my protective layers of parchment paper, bring my iron over, and then just let that heat up. The more layers of fiber that you add, the denser or less opaque it will be. So that now you can really see that there's a very strong hint of pink going on there. And because this is actually really sturdy, it looks very delicate, but it's very sturdy, you can actually cut this into any shape you want. So I'm just going to cut myself a nice little heart out of this pink, shiny Angelina. Ta-da! if you wanted to create a little fabric Valentine, this would be a great way of doing it. How do you get this to stick to this? This is not fusible on its own. So you could literally just take a glue stick if you wanted to, add a little bit of glue to your fabric and then put your piece down and then stitch it down. Or you could work with a fusible that's called Misty Fuse, and it looks almost a little bit like Angelina itself. This is basically a featherweight glue that you could put just a tiny bit down in the area where your heart is going to be. Again, we do not want to touch an iron directly onto this heart, so I'm going to sandwich that into my parchment paper again, and then heat that up to bond the glue to basically hold hands between the Angelina fibers and the fabric. So now it is attached to my fabric, and I can stitch this down, add a little any more embellishments if I would like. It's a really quick and easy way to add a little bit of shine and bling to whatever project you're working on. This is completely washable. It's actually even dry cleanable. It's really, really sturdy fibers once you've got them bonded together. It doesn't seem like it should be because they're so super feathery lightweight. But when you put them together and let them bond and fix together, it becomes pretty sturdy. So here's a few more examples of how I have used Angelina in some different little postcard projects, just by adding in a little bit of that shine behind some trees. And then this one was some cutout trees that make the northern lights in the background. So it can be as crazy, just a little bit, you know, in the moon here, or it can be absolutely crazy shiny in the background. You can also go very abstract with it and actually just, this was a fun fabric I had, and then I just cut out little squares of Angelina that I had fixed together and stitched them down onto this little postcard. If you'd like to work a little bit more abstract, it's a fun way of building up layers. One of my favorite things to do is to create stitches in between layers of Angelina and some luchador and some crazy yarns. You can get some great texture that will also allow that shine to come through. It's wonderful under cheesecloth as well. And here are some examples of how I've used Angelina in some of my original textile art. As always, thanks for tuning in. I hope that you've learned something new or gotten a little bit more inspiration to try something new. And keep on stitching.